Alright, here we are. Again, it's been a few weeks. I got a message from, a comment from Robert Teeters over in Las Vegas. Thanks for the reminder to get me going with YouTubes again. So happy to do so. Okay, I'm over this side of the garage today because the sun's too bright on the other side and it makes my face glow, and that makes me look like an angel. Anyway, so I thought I'd come over this side and provide a bit of shade. What's been happening? Okay, so let me walk you through what I've been doing the last few days, and it might be best if I actually just lift the camera and take you for a walk. What we're going to do today is I'm going to push the Healey out, and I've got the hoop that I mentioned in my last video that I needed to replace that bit of back end, but to do that I needed the shroud, the rear shroud, to make sure that I had my alignments right. And also here at the front end I've got a shroud fitted as well, but it's just sitting there loosely, you know, trying to establish that I've got the right clearances with the radiator cap, not too close to the bonnet and so on, because I know things are a little bit tight there, and I had to make sure that, you know, I had all the right clearances, and I want this shroud to sit, you know, as low as I can possibly be, and yet you know, to as close to the reality of where it should sit, based on the tyres that I've got at the moment as well. So let me take you for a little walk through that, and then we'll get in and do some fitting and cutting and things like that. So the main thing being that I need to fix that rear end and get back to scratch on that, and I'm almost ready to start the thing by key as well. I think that's the problem when you make a chassis. You leave certain holes out, not realizing they all serve a function, you know, like earthing cables, and then to try and get in to put in those anchor nuts, to put anchor nuts in, or nutserts, to put those in the various positions is not so easy to do, especially when you've got to squeeze the thing. Anyway, these are all minor things, but they're really not worthy of a film, I don't think. So you know, it's hard picking what's relevant, or what I think, you know, people might be interested in, and without dragging it all out and getting so bored that it's just not funny. Anyway, pleasant day today, bit cold, but let's get on with it, shall we? Alright, so I just dropped the stool here for get rid of my stool here for a moment. You can see there, okay, I've got the front shroud in place. It still needs actually quite a bit of work. You can see there that you know, the little breaks and little bits broken off, even on the inside. If you look down there, you can see the amount of daylight that you can see right there. That's all broken. Right, let's push this fellow out. Oh, and from the last video, I did make all the adjustments that were appropriate for the handbrake to clear the prop shaft. And you can probably, if I look over the top, you can see those brass spaces there that I've had to move out to make it fit. So thanks to, I think it was Johan that helped me with that one, and advised me that I'd missed out some spaces. Alright, so instrument panel, just to protect it, I've got a towel over that. Okay, the shroud is just sitting here loose, so I'm going to lift that off and then push this thing out and try and get to the back end a bit more clearly where I can get a camera around there so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so that's sort of where I stand at the moment with this thing. Again, very close to starting it. I think I've got all the electrics just about ready to go, except behind the dash for the key and the starter button. So I'm still a couple of days. I wanted to do the work at the back end first because I didn't want to put any fuel in the tank while I'm cutting and welding in that area, just to be safe. I don't think it'd be a problem, but I just wanted to err on the side of caution. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so I'm halfway out of the garage, and it's probably enough to get to the back end to do what I need to do. Handbrake's on. And so let's go around the back and just have a look and see where we're at. So you can see the issue that I've got here. Okay, so I've got new can't remember what these things are called, but anyway, that's the bracket that goes just here. Okay, and then the hoop, and the hoop, as you can see, fits right up in there. But I don't think I'll need to cut. If I cut just where this bracket starts, about there, and try and catch that, and then this here centerpiece has been pushed up as well, so it's a bit out, and as you can see, that should have a a nice big bend in there. So I need to clean that up, disconnect that. So I'm going to damage the paint a bit. See if you can see that. Again, can't help with the sun. Okay, so as I said, the first thing is just aligning this part of the shroud, and I'll clamp those two together once I've cut a bit off, so that I can see what I'm doing, and we'll start again from there. Okay, so I'll put a sheet over all this, so that just to protect the fuel tank from the angle grinder, and we'll see how we go. So let's just mark where I think I want to cut it, and let me get a pen or even a pencil. Okay, so I need to cut to get in there, so I'm going to replace this fellow here. Okay, so I need to break that away carefully. I'll just cut on this shroud, I'll just cut either side of that just to get that out of the way. And as you can see here, it's quite mangled, so what I might do, without hurting this support bracket brace, I might just cut straight across there and then cut just in there like that. That'll at least get me started to where I think I need to be. Okay, so that I can fit the rear shroud on. Okay, I'll just shut down for a moment. don't like wearing a guard, so but I always make sure I've got gloves on, because I just can't work around guards. Right, let's see what we've got. Just lift you off in case you might have missed some of that. Again, I'm sort of facing, seems the sun's creeping over. Okay, so we've cut all that away. Okay, and the bits are on the floor over there. Okay, so let's put the shroud back on. Okay, and see what we've done here. Okay, right. Try and move you in as close as I possibly can. And let's lift this fellow up, back in place. So that it sits over that lip. There's a bit of work. Oh, that's better. That's sitting down. And mind you, this shroud, apart from welding the little end pieces on, has undergone a lot of damage, especially down around here. And I've tried panel beating that out. Well, I have panel beated it out a lot of it. Let me lift you again. Worst thing is if you're just not capturing what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got to close that gap. Okay, so I'll use a bunch of clamps of sorts, and you can see. Okay, so these faces here need to sort of sit nice and hard against this face here. Okay, and then I need to pull that right in. Okay, as much as I can. Okay, let's do that. I'll just go and get some bits of tools and things. I need to tidy this fellow up a bit because it's not allowing me to come in close. Okay, so I may as well, while I'm at that, cut all the rest of that rubbish off as cleanly as I possibly can. So again, angle grinder and a flap disc to just give me something that I can re-weld when I'm ready to do that. So some nice clean edges on that. Okay, so I'll need to belt that fellow down and just grind the top a bit and just try and get rid of the old piece that's in there. Alright, so far so good. thinking that I might cut that on the line, and then I can always put a new piece on that and just weld it across there, because you can see there it's been spot welded. I don't have a spot welder, and breaking those because it's so flexible is going to be hard, so I might as well just get rid of that whole piece, and then I can come back to that later and put a piece over the top, which I can probably TIG weld across there. Okay, so let's do that as well. Change blades. It's a bit tedious. I've got another angle grinder there where I usually keep a blade on, but I'm missing that. I've lost that nut. So I've got to try and hunt one down somewhere. I bought one, but it was the wrong size thread. Okay. I'll try to get one together. Okay, and then pretty much the same with this over here. Let's get rid of that, and I'll just line up the camera a bit better. Change blade. Okay, change wheels again. Let's go straight inside of it. Yeah, you really don't need standards for this sort of thing. Can I buy some strip and hand tie this on for these thin blades and fibre discs? No, I've never used, I don't think it is. I've always used just that. So if you don't need to you don't need a standard bleeding, you just find usually. Okay, let's see how that all looks. Put the shroud back on, just clean up that mess. Okay, well, without clamping so far, it's not too bad. You can see here, that'll close up there fairly well, and probably if I
Yeah, probably means the bend, the bow on this side is, I need to drag that around a bit more. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll work our way along and just clamp that down. Right, let me get some tools for that, and we'll see how we go. Not sure how I'm going to film that, but let's see how we go anyway.
Take one, please.
Okay, I think I've only got 2 clamps in, but it's all fairly closed up. Let's have a look. Okay, so 1 clamp down there. It needs a little bit of adjustment up and down, but that's generally meeting fairly well. Okay, so from that, you know, being to be level with the floor, I can now make some, find out where this hoop sits and how it sits. Okay, right, let's just stop there for a moment and get our bearings on that. Okay, where have we at? I had this top end here coming up a little bit, and it wasn't sitting well. Also, there's a bracket mechanism channeling running along there, and you can see there from the originals that's got to be riveted to that as well. And also here where the hinge is for the boot, that's got to be touching metal there and there. So I've had to bring that down, and I've still got a nice gap, or well, lack of a gap. I've got nice closure all along here. Okay, that corner I wouldn't be too worried about that. I think that might just need a bit of aluminium welding there. Okay, but you can see they're reasonably well closed. So what I'll do, this fellow here, okay, sits here and on here, and what I can do is start to trim that down, and there, start to trim that down, and just see how it tucks in underneath. Alright, so let's give that a couple of cuts. Let me see if I can get you from this angle. I'm reasonably happy with how that shroud is sitting, and you can see there, okay, sitting nicely tucked in. Okay, that end, that very far end there, needs a little bit of work. So does the other one, but I don't think that's anything to do with what's happening here. And that's fairly well closed. I just need to hammer that a little bit to tuck that in a bit. But along here it's running quite well. You can see there. Okay, so I need to push that. I need to push that back a little bit. Okay. Got a crack. I had a crack right there. Don't know if you can see that. There's a little crack there. So that's going to need some welding, and I can even do that in place there. And it's probably what looks like I welded it before. Probably must have been a much longer crack. So again, from one of the previous little dings or accidents, if you like. And this side, actually, that's not too bad. Okay. So sitting over the loop, okay, the holes for the rivets are reasonably well lined up, and same with this here, that's sitting down now, but I've had to clamp that to keep it down, hold it down, and this then takes the shape of how the boot should look. And if I take it back over here, that's my boot, and I've welded new pieces on that, but I found that without actually fitting it onto the car, I was just getting lost with it. So with a friend we agreed that I really need to put the shroud in, lock it all down, and then I can work on the boot and get it to follow the pattern a bit better, you know, for a good seal. Okay, let me cut that hoop down a bit, and we'll see where we go from there. Mind you, I think I've probably taken up enough video here to not bore you too much with detail, so I'll cut the hoop down. We'll just see how it sits, and then I'll with a bit of editing just see where I stand. I'm trying to keep them down to preferably under 20 minutes. So what I can do I MIG or do I TIG? Chances are I'll probably, my thinking is MIGging at the moment, because it's far more forgiving, easier to hold and keep in place while I tack it in place. And then you know, if you MIG carefully, it should be okay. Tigging, you really need to you know, cleanliness is godliness in TIG welding, and to get a good TIG weld you really need to have a good fit, because TIG doesn't like jumping gaps, and it likes a good fit up, whereas MIG is quite a lot more forgiving. Okay, let's just stop there for a moment while I just trim that hoop down and see. Let's see where we stand again. Okay, you can see there that cut was actually fairly close to where it all finishes, and this middle bit, that just needs to sit down on there, and I put that piece back over the top. So where it's sitting is actually pretty good. And what I'll do tomorrow is bring out the welder and just tack it in place, and then remove the shroud and then fully weld it. So watch out for part 2, I suppose. And then also these little gussets, where have I put those? Right over here somewhere. Okay, so that's right hand side. Whoops. That would go something like that. Okay, so I've got to position that yet. Okay, that's these pieces, and same with on that side there. Okay.